I get asked this question a lot. How can I enjoy coffee? How can I order a latte? And someone recently asked it to me in a very cute way, which was, how do I order a latte responsibly while considering nutrition? So I just wanted to quickly give you 7 tips to be able to order a latte that makes you happy, but that doesn't break the bank on calories or other nutrients. So tip number 1 is to order reasonable size. I don't think it needs to be a short. That's pretty small, but it probably shouldn't be a venti. So somewhere in the middle is nice and reasonable. So a tall or a grande is what I'd recommend. We should probably skip the whipped cream for a couple reasons. 1, it's really something that should go on dessert, not on coffee. And we probably shouldn't normalize it for our daily beverages with a big glob of sour cream or whipped cream on the top. And it does make a big difference. So in that instant, when you say whip, yes or no? Yes, I think I will. It depends on the drink, if it's hot or cold, how much they put on there. You know, when they do the cold drinks, they have those big bubble lids and they fill it all the way up. They don't put as much on hot drinks because they have the flat lids. But for a tall or a grande hot drink, saying yes to whip adds about 70 calories, which is pretty significant. So just saying no to whip saves a ton. Choosing your milk is a pretty significant decision when you're getting a latte. If you don't specify a milk specifically, it's my understanding that like places like Starbucks default to 2%, but you could ask. If you're going for the lowest calorie, then almond milk. If the place where you get coffee has almond milk, that's going to be the lowest calorie. The next one up from that would be if they have a coconut milk beverage. That would be slightly higher than almond milk, but still low calorie. But if you're going for the most nutritious, meaning the most protein primarily, and other nutrients, then should be soy milk or some version of cow's milk, probably not whole milk. So I'd probably go with 2% or non-fat. Non-fat would be the lowest calorie cow's milk, but still have good nutrients like protein and calcium. I try not for unsweetened whenever possible. And a couple tricks I have for doing that is getting ristretto shots, which are different than the traditional standard espresso shot, and they're smoother and not as bitter, or getting the blonde espresso shots, which are also not as bitter. And I find that then I don't need as much, since the coffee isn't as strong, I don't need as much milk or calories from milk or a heavy duty milk like soy or whole milk to cover up the flavor of the coffee or to blunt it a little bit. And I also don't need as much sweetener because it just plain isn't as bitter. So what I've started doing is ordering a flat white instead of a latte, and then they automatically use the ristretto shots, and it's just ristretto shots plus milk. However, if unsweetened is not reasonable for you, you can't imagine having a latte with no sweetener, then try and ask for fewer pumps, as few as you can possibly get by with and still enjoy the flavor of your drink. The default amounts, if you don't specify, are, to me, from a calorie perspective, pretty astounding. So a grande vanilla latte has 4 pumps of the vanilla syrup. A tall has 3 and a venti has 5 pumps. So just imagine how much syrup is in the bottom of that cup with 5 pumps or 4 pumps before they even put coffee or milk in. So that's a lot. So if you can get by with 1 or 2, try 1 or 2 and see if you still like the flavor. That would be a really lovely place to compromise. Sugar-free syrups are absolutely an option, and they really get the calories down because they have 0 calories instead of 20 per pump like the regular syrups. But they kind of have their own problems. It's not something, as a dietitian, that I'm a fan of encouraging people to use. They're not a real food, and there's some research that suggests they aren't that great. They just have their own problems. So if you really, really want to get the lowest calorie, then follow the guidelines that I've already talked about, but then also get sugar-free syrups. But I think you can do reasonably well with fewer pumps of the regular syrup. And then don't go every day. I know we get into routines and ruts and habits, and getting a drive-through coffee probably shouldn't be a daily habit unless you're very, very careful each time you order and it's taking the place of something else in your day that would be a treat. It really adds up, and this is my profession, and I've still been kind of unaware of how easily it adds up. So I always tell the story that back in the day, we had moved, and I lived right next to a Starbucks. It was right on my way from my house to the freeway to commute down to Skagit. in Bellingham. And so I just, on days when I didn't have time to get ready, I would go to Starbucks and get a grande soy vanilla latte and a scone. And how bad can that be? It's just a beverage and a scone, right? And then I started looking at the nutrition facts, which are widely available in the app and online for Starbucks. And my grande vanilla latte was 250 calories. And the scones at that time were between 400 and 450 calories. So 650 calories for breakfast is too much for me. I get about 1,800 to 2,000 calories a day, and spending a third of them at breakfast seems reasonable because you're like, well, there's 3 meals, spend a third at each meal. But typically lunches and dinners are going to have more calories than breakfast. And then that means I don't get any extra beverages that have calories or snacks or treats or anything. So a 650 calorie breakfast doesn't work for me. I looked at the scones this morning, the calories for scones at Starbucks, and they were they changed the portion sizes apparently recently. And so they were more like 300 calories, which is reasonable, but still adds up quite a bit. And then if you get something different, these were values I looked at this morning. The iced lemon loaf is 470 calories and the glazed lemon is 480. So you add that to a venti latte with 5 pumps of syrup and whipped cream, and it's going to be, the calories are going to be off the chart. So it really, really adds up. So just to recap, how to order a latte responsibly. Try and compromise on size, skip the whipped cream, think about your milk choices, opt for unsweetened if you possibly can and still be happy and enjoy it, or try and reduce the number of pumps that you can get by with. Consider potentially sugar-free syrups, and then try not to go every day. So hopefully this is some good news for you, that it is possible to enjoy. I'm a dietitian and I go through the coffee drive-thru quite regularly, not every day, but it is a treat for me, and I just try and order carefully and thoughtfully, and so then I don't feel guilty for doing it afterwards. All right, thanks.